Thank you. I have a number of questions here. The cost of the machines for the international airports have been given at 3 billion, 233 million, and 600,000, inclusive of 7% VAT. Naira, naira. 3 billion naira, 233 billion, 233 million, 600,000. That's 3.2 approximately. With a completion period of 12 months, we can get the money from the moment we give them the money. It's customized, so they're going to build it for us from the companies abroad. And they have a completion period of 12 months to do that. Then somebody asked about the advantage of the agreement with Guyana. Guyana, any country where you open a route, to go and come, it's always an advantage of citizen in terms of trade and in terms of movement, in terms of holidays and all of that. But most importantly, Guyana is a South American country. And you should know that our routes from Nigeria to South America, they are not many or even non-existent. If you want to go to Brazil now, you have to go first to London to catch. And then Brazil is just 4 hours or 5 hours across the Atlantic on our left-hand side. So if you have a direct flight to Brazil, you spend 4.5 hours. But right now, you may spend up to 18 hours. You first go and transit somewhere, maybe in Europe first, to get to a South American country. So anything that opens up that route for us, the South American route, where you can go there and then transit to maybe Colombia or Brazil and all that, it can be a transit point too for Nigerians who are visiting the South American countries. This agreement has been signed long before we even came into power. So 2014, it was signed, but not ratified. And they have been pushing for the ratification because they also want to come to Nigeria to do their businesses and other things. As to the plane that landed in Asaba, immediately yesterday I called for a report on it. And immediately also I summoned the heads of all my agencies. I'm sure you've seen it, and I speak with you as I'm here. They've been waiting for me since 2 o'clock. So I'm leaving here straight to that meeting now with the heads of the agencies. And I'm sure because of my concern, I'm sure you have seen the press release by the NCA suspending the wet leases of United. If you have not seen it, that release has since come out. That is a precautionary step that the NCA took until they find out the real, cause of that. But then, because some caution needs to be applied, and we have to take precaution, the NCA decided to suspend wet leases, the wet leases by United. Not so, that answers the other question too. It's not wet leases generally, but the United wet lease. What's a wet lease? A wet lease is when you go and hire a plane outside the country and they bring their crew, their pilot, the crew, and everybody. So they may not be familiar with your terrain. If it's a Nigerian pilot, once it's descending to another place, this will not look like Abuja for me, But a wet lease, a white man or somebody, a foreigner flying the plane, if a foreigner is flying the plane, he just follows the coordinate given to him. And if it's a wrong coordinate, well, if it's a Nigerian pilot, say, this is not the coordinate that takes me to Abuja. So I think that's a precautionary measure that the agency took. Let me be clear that a minister does not get involved in regulation. I'm sure you all know that. So when anything happens, say, Minister of Aviation, he's a regulator. But my duty as minister, which I have sought, to enforce and implement to the end, is to ensure that they do their work. And that's why I've summoned them, to ensure that they enforce their regulations to the letter. And I told all of them, the way I will not give excuses to my president, who has appointed me here, I don't want excuses from them. Anytime there is an incident, I told them, anytime there's an incident at the airport, either an aircraft, the tire gets burst, or some fuel issue and all that, there's a failure of regulation somewhere. Because somebody ought to have inspected that tire before the plane took off to know that the tire is not fit for landing. Somebody should have inspected the runway to say that it's not fit for landing. And you land and you skid off the runway. So anytime there's an incident, the first assumption is that there's a failure of regulation somewhere. And that, of course, is what I intend to impress upon them. And like I said, I will not give my president excuses. This involves the lives of Nigerians. It's a very delicate, ministry I find myself. The lives of Nigerians. And so I will not take excuses too, the way my president will not take excuses from me. And that's, I intend to do today. But of course, we'll look at the technical issues and we'll brief the press too in my office after we've finished it. But I've reacted to these developments, and the NCA have also reacted. The last question, time frame, cancellation, is about the Air Nigeria project. I have deliberately not granted the full press interview. I've heard all kinds of things going on, all kinds of brickbats in the social media. But I cannot preempt my president. I cannot. All the documents, all the reports, everything we have forwarded to Mr. President. The issues we met on the ground. But just to say that it would have been irresponsible of me as minister to take over office, and I feel the pulse of Nigerians. I feel even the National Assembly raised concerns over that. And so many stakeholders. It would have been irresponsible to close my eyes totally to those concerns. So because of that, we suspended it to say, let's just look at all the issues and recommend. Now we have looked at all the issues, and it's before Mr. President. But let me just give one or two snippets because of Nigerians who are, who are quick to judge. In the agreement, you are giving tax waivers to Ethiopian airline coming into Nigeria. They asked for tax waivers for 5 years, and you granted them to come and compete with your local airlines who are paying those heavy taxes. How? You want to create a monopoly. That's why when they tell you that, we want to crash price by 70%, it's a lie. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. Because they have removed all taxes from you, and you granted them to the tax waivers. And initially, they will crash prices. Once you drive every other person out of the market, you now have a monopoly that you can hike it 500%. Nobody there to challenge you. The only thing that brings down prices in the commercial world is competition. It's fair competition. In the agreement, they also made a proposal that they will appoint everybody, top management, everybody Ethiopian in Nigeria. And we agreed.